time of 2016 had worked significantly hard from 2008 to date. I did see this day coming. I'm very excited for the new patriotic party. I'm very excited for Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia himself. I consider Ghana one of the blessed countries. And I've stated that today, history is going to be made on Ghana, in the Republic of Ghana. I stated earlier this morning that the entire world is going to come to a standstill. And you won't believe it. I've not had conversations with the United States of American president, but I'm very certain that he's going to be seated in the White House watching Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm very certain that the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm very certain as well that the Chancellor of Germany is going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The people in Asia are going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The continent of Africa is going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Today is a very important day for Ghana and for the new patriotic party.
Indeed, Sanda, you'll agree that today is a very important day. 16 years is a long time to nurture an ambition and to see the party overwhelmingly give him the nod to be the flag bearer. Now, it's quite interesting to note that a number of things that has never happened in this country first. First of all, this is the first time that we're having an individual of northern extraction being a flag bearer of the new patriotic party. Secondly, this is the first time we're having a flag bearer of the new patriotic party that's not a lawyer.
That's true. That's actually true. Yeah.
You know, but if you look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's body of work over the last 16 years, and of course he came to life during the election petition of 2012. Since then, 2016, he had a series of lectures and he spoke extensively about the economy and how we needed to change things and make it work. But now, today, we're expecting him to speak and share his vision. Now, you recall, soon after his election as the flag bearer, he made a very profound statement that I am my own man. I have my own vision for this country. Now, if you will guess over the period and the things that we want to see change or improve in Ghana, where do you think his focus is likely to be placed?
Well, so there's a lot involved when someone says I'm my own man. It reminds me of John Evans Atta Mills. He was handpicked by Jerry John Rawlings and made the vice president. We do remember what happened between Rawlings and Eko Kensinaka, you know, in the early years of the Fourth Republic. We do know that there was a falling out because there was a disagreement there. Now, subsequently, Rawlings brings in Professor John Evans Atta Mills as his running mate and eventually became the vice president. When he becomes the vice president, he works for the Jerry John Rawlings that we know. Rawlings was a very charismatic man, a very strong man. So for the 8 years that the NDC was in opposition, Rawlings was the guy who was the face of the party, even though John Mills was the flag bearer. However, in fact, I remember very, very vividly when the Chronicle published and said that Atta Mills was going to be a poodle of Jerry John Rawlings, and that conversation, that word became a big issue at the time when Kofi Kumsin Chronicle did that publication. Mills having become president, had to disentangle himself from Rawlings and become a man of his own. He didn't do it in an offensive manner, but you have to do it in a tactful manner. And even with that, we saw what happened, the attack that Mills received. I am juxtaposing this with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He was a nobody, quote and unquote, politically speaking, when Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor brought him and said, this is going to be my running mate. In fact, we do know the resistance that Bawumia faced in the New Patriotic Party. People said, Bawo who? Essentially saying, who the hell is this guy that you have gone to bring to come and be your running mate? Fast forward, the NPP lost the elections of 2008, lost 2012, and then won 2016. Over that 8 years in the wilderness, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia graduated from being the unknown NPP guy, the banker somewhere, to becoming a force to reckon with in election 2016. We do remember what he did in 2016. That campaign rested largely on his shoulders and indeed on his spouse. So there he showed us that when he's given the political mandate, he can execute. It was the early signs of what he can do. Subsequently, the NPP wins that election. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo becomes president, and we know that the economy was a big issue. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I remember having covered all the lectures that he did at the Central University College at Miocho on the Pram Road at the time, jabbing the Mahama government. You can call him the Achilles heel of the Mahama government at the time, having fired extensively, and ensuring that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became president. Now, the issue of the economy, all those 170 questions that he asked Mr. Arthur at the time, the vice president, calling him to a debate and all of that. It was a Dr. Bawumia being shaped as a man of his own. But then again, it's a difficult job, isn't it, Inshra? You are a vice president. Constitutionally, your duty is to act in the stead of the president. When the president is not around, your job is to be the shadow president. Now, that's a very difficult job. You have to be careful not to undermine your boss. Whatever you do should be in the agreement with your boss. If your boss does not agree, you cannot do anything. So it was a difficult role, and I actually did not envy him at all. Imagine, even if he did not like what Akufo-Addo was doing or what the government was doing, he was bound to support it, maybe silently. We do know his position on a lot of issues, economy. How did he survive those things? It was a difficult one that he had to deal with, but he has dealt with them, played the yes sir master role in a very, very good way, played the good boy role in a very, very wonderful way, played the role of a planqué, played the role of a mate, a driver's mate, and he did that so well, biding his time or biding his time, slowly. In 2008, nobody would have thought that Bawumia was going to be the flag bearer of the NPP. The views or the choices were very much there. The world, the Alan Chermantins of this world. I mean, so many people, the Agyapong of this world, Aliu Mahama's name, all of these people were there. A certain Bawumia was lurking somewhere in the Bank of Ghana. Nobody thought he was going to be eventually the flag bearer. But having served his master so well, and following the proverb of Africa that says, if you know how to wash your hands, you dine with the masters, you have a Bawumia graduate eventually to become a flag bearer. The first Northerner to do so for the NPP, and the first economist, like you said. And he has done that beautifully, and now he holds the flag. He has said to us that when he holds the flag of the NPP, he's going to be a man of his own. He's going to have his own vision. And so for me, today is the first test. Today is the first test of whether or not Bawumia is a man of his own. The economy is a big challenge. The economy is in turbulence.
Yeah.
He has been the guy who we've described as the economic messiah. He's been the Adam Smith of our time, according to all the people who were praising him ahead of election 2016. We have seen what has happened to the economy. Today, it is his duty to steer his own personality and his own campaign away from the mess. He cannot entirely dissociate himself, but he has to find a way of defending and owning it, because if you were in a trotro and then you people took an overload, when you get to the checkpoint, the police should hold both the driver and the mate responsible. Usually it's the mate who signals and says, let's take more passengers, right? I mean, it may be a very crude analogy to put, but today is a very big test case for Dr. Bawumia, because he has to first of all define himself and also involve himself. Because don't forget, he has not left the MPP.
Yeah.
He's in the MPP. He's leading the MPP into battle. So he cannot say, I am not part of it, like other people had done prior to the election.
That's right.
He must be part of it, and he has to find a way of defending it, and then based on that, outline his vision and say, I have been part. This is what I did, or this is what we did, but now this is what I would do. I really look forward to what he would say, Isha.
You know, but Palgrave, the truth of the matter is that in as much as we have an economy that's in crisis, there has been some bright spots and sparks in terms of what this administration has done. The whole digitalization agenda has changed a lot of things. Look, and but how do you foresee Dr. Bawumia steering this, dicey maze of articulating how, giving the nod, he will turn things around in the areas where we haven't done so well, while improving on the stuff that he's done right?
So, Ishura, I'm very certain that today the Vice President is going to talk about himself. He's going to talk about his vision. He's going to let the Ghanaian people know who he is. He's obviously going to talk about his history as a Sakasaka young gentleman who went to senior high school, went to Oxford University, went to Canada to study for his PhD, did some cleaning of the floor. He's going to let the Ghanaian people know who he is, his character, his competence, his persona, and his visioning. He's obviously clearly, as an economist, going to talk about the Ghanaian economy. He would not shy away from the Ghanaian economy. He would also talk about the various responsibilities that were given to him and how well he fared as vice president with the role that was given to him by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor. Today is a very significant day because the vice president would also share his own vision. He has stated that he has his own vision. He did state this on the 4th of November 2023 when the New Patriotic Party overwhelmingly voted for him to become the flag bearer. He will talk about his vision. He will share what his vision is like and how his vision is going to begin when the Ghanaian people give him an opportunity from the 7th of January 2025. Now, we have to remember that the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party is still the sitting vice president of the Republic of Ghana. He has an idea of the vision of President Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor, which ends on the 6th of January 2025. And so every single thing that the vice president is going to share today, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, is going to begin from the 7th of January 2025. He would strongly share his vision and also states very clearly that when the Ghanaian people given an opportunity to become president of the Republic of Ghana from the 7th of January 2025, things that have gone wrong from the previous government, which would be the government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor, is going to correct those things. Those are very, very, very key. And he's going to make those bold statements. And it's important for us to see that it takes the maturity of a sitting vice president, the maturity of a flag bearer, to be able to make a statement in 10 months to a major election. Because you have to remember that he's still a member of the government now. He's also the head of the economic management team. What I'm aware and what I think he will talk about is that because of the controversy around the economic management team, the vice president is going to ensure that he breaks down the role of the economic management team well to the Ghanaian people. Because I'm aware that cabinet is made up of subcommittees. So the subcommittees of cabinet are governance and legal, security, social services, infrastructure, and economy. So there are about 6 subcommittees of cabinet, and the vice president heads the economic management team, which is also a subcommittee of cabinet. Today, the vice president will elucidate more for the Ghanaian people to understand what his role was, the suggestions that he made as the chair of EMT, the suggestions as well that he made to the president Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor, and the suggestions that were taken and the suggestions that were implemented from him. He's going to let the Ghanaian people know. And I'll tell you something, Ishra, it is the vice president, the sitting vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, who today has given us a gold reserve. Are you aware that Ghana from Gold Coast to the Ghana of 1957 to the Ghana of the millennium had not had a gold reserve? It was through the ingenuity and innovative and out of the ordinary thinking vice president who has given us a gold reserve. Today, we have gold for oil. And I tell you something, yesterday I spent a considerable number of time at the National Development Planning Commission with the Director General, Dr. Kojo Mensah Brampa, and we stood by the Ghana map. And we realized that Ghana is embedded with a lot more resources. We have gold, we have copper, we have iron, we have lithium, we have diamond, we have bauxite, we have manganese, all these mineral resources in Ghana. The Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is going to present bold solutions and how, as a country, we are not supposed to go certain path. And I can promise you something without being a prophet,
Yeah.
that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, when he's president, would depart from the continual going onto the IMF, because he's going to challenge the Ghanaian people to provide solutions for ourselves as a country.
Wow. Sanda, very interesting and profound points that Palgrave just raised. But, you know, everyone's going to say, and this was a phrase that was coined during Clinton's campaign, it's the economy, stupid. That's the economy. Money in our pockets. Services running. Do you think that there will be, and there will be a marked difference from what Dr. Bawumia will do or say, considering the fact that he's a new man aiming to be the man running the country, right? However, the crop of people he's going to work with are the same people who have been a part of this government for the last 8 years, or 7 years and a couple of months. How do you foresee him being able to rally them behind this vision?
Well, I think you can say that it's the same team, but it will also be the different team. And I always like to refer to history. Mills was president in 2009. His vice was John Mahama. Mills appointed certain people as his ministers. When John Mahama succeeded him, we saw a lot of those people being dropped.
True.
The chief of staff was changed. The ministers were changed. Key ministers were changed. So you may be working under somebody, but you are only taking orders from that person to the extent that you are not the guy in charge. Every man is a man of his own. And when it gets to it, or when it comes to it, Bawumia is the guy who is going to be in the driver's seat. He is going to drive this vehicle. So he has to choose who he wants to work with. Even the choice of running mates, it's a big issue. We do know what's happening. People are jostling for it. People are sponsoring candidates for that. People are pushing people. But at the end of the day, it is he, Bawumia, who is going to be responsible for whoever he chooses. And I know when he goes into his own study at night, or when he goes to bed at night and he's lying there looking at the ceiling, he knows that this guy is the one I want to work with. And I'm sure it is clear in his mind. And I do not think anybody can bully him. I've always said that a choice of a running mate is going to be his first test again. We need to know whether he's going to choose a person that is chosen by him, or he's going to choose a person that was chosen for him by other persons. Nana Addo Kufuor is a strong man. You are replacing him. He has basically all the MPP structures under him. He has worked for 16 to 20 years to ensure that these structures become part of him. You, Dr. Bawumia, you are now coming through. You are his vice president. But again, you have to chart your own course. You have to chart your own path. I would want to hear what Dr. Bawumia's views on E-Levy is, for instance. He hasn't spoken. I want to hear what his view on free senior high school is. Consistently, people say, let us review the free senior high school. Nana Addo Kufuor and his government has said, no way. Dr. Bawumia is still a vice president. He's still a deputy to Kufuor. So, in making some pronouncement, he has to be careful. But I think Nana Addo Kufuor, the president, even though he's a president and we run an executive government, has to defer to Bawumia on a lot of things. If he wants Bawumia to succeed him as flag bearer, no, as the person that he wants to hand over, he has promised that he wants to hand over to an MPP person. He should give Dr. Bawumia a lot of opportunities, especially this last year, so that he should be in charge of a lot of things. The economy, the ideas. In fact, even the budget for last year, or the budget for this year, which was presented last year, I expected that he should be the guy who is handling all of these things. So, if you don't give him the chance, and he goes to lose, it is your party that has lost. And we remember Kufuor, the former president, has said to us, it is better to be a boy in a governing party than a general secretary in an opposition party. So I'm not sure Kufuor is in his own interest would want his party to crash out when he's leaving. But how does he do that? A lot of it has to be seen. I do not know if he is going to be here tonight. I do not think he'll be here tonight. But whatever Dr. Bawumia says here tonight is something that we should all be looking up to. And we are going to critically analyze everything he says, line by line, word by word, so that we can see whether the Bawumia person is now different from the government, even though he's still a part of it. It is going to be a difficult thing for him to maneuver. A very slippery slope. In one breath, You are Bawumia, the MPP flag bearer, who is independent-minded and visionary on your own. In another breath, on Thursday you go to cabinet, and the man chairing the cabinet is your boss. And whatever he says is what happens. It is going to be a really difficult one. And I really want to hear what he will say.
And you know, you raise a very fantastic point, Pagwe. Dr. Bawumia still has 9 more months to serve as vice president under the leadership of Nana Dankwa Kufuor before eventually, should Ghanaians give him the nod, he will become president-elect. How do you think that today will play out in terms of his independence of thought and the vision within the party structure itself?
So, you know, which is why I've stated very clearly that today is for selfless leadership and bold future decisions. So, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as flag bearer today and as sitting vice president, is going to pronounce a lot more solutions. Is going to profess a lot more policies. But his policies and his solutions and his campaign messages are going to begin from the 7th of January 2025. And so he's still sitting vice president, he's flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, and he's going to profess bold solutions. Now, in the midst of this issue, one of the things that would interest you to note as well is that the vice president, based on the ideologies of the New Patriotic Party, is going to ensure that he's not departing from the ideologies of the New Patriotic Party, but he's going to channel his own path, which is why he's saying that he's his own man. He's got his own vision. He's an independent man of his own self. He's going to pronounce those solutions and those futures, and which is why, for me, after the vice president finishes today, his vision, his bold statements, his individual stance, the vice president is going to make sure that the Ghanaian people are aware of what he wants to do. And so today is a very important day for Ghana, a very important day for the vice president, a very important day for the New Patriotic Party. And obviously, once he's done today, he has set the stage for campaigning, he's set the stage for what he's going to do. And we need to also state the things that he's going to talk about today is going to form the foundation and the basis for the manifesto, which we are yet to prepare as a political party. And so everyone should exercise patience and then allow people to see what the vice president has in place.
Yes, Insha, thank you so much. So, Pagre Bwachi Dankwa, government spokesperson on security. Let me just say that if you're watching us, we are coming to you live from the UPSA, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is delivering a big speech to the nation today, to his party supporters primarily, and also to the nation, where he's selling us, he's going to chart his own path. I'm here with Inshira Ado and with Asasi Radio. We were engaging Pagre Bwachi Dankwa. Thank you so much, Pagre. He is a government security spokesman. Thank you so much. We are bringing in many people as and when we call up with a conversation. So we've also grabbed and brought in someone in our midst now. Master, how are you? Miracles, Dennis Abuaji is a pro-Bawumia person. And now you can't even say pro-Bawumia because everybody is Bawumia person based on what the MP are saying to us. What is the biggest takeaway for you? What should the biggest expectation be today?
for Best African Music Performance. It's the first time that that award will be will
of the Nanado-led administration, because he was the second man in charge, and so his stewardship in the last 7 years and what he brings to the fold, I'm sure after his speech we journalists will be looking out for the things that his predecessor going, and then what he will do as a flag bearer and the president if Ghanaians give him the nod on December 7th.
Interesting. But who have you seen here? I mean, as a journalist, who have you been seeing since you came?
Well,
it's a big gathering, and whoever is here would mean something. Who are the people you
you know the interesting thing, the names that have been bandied about with regards to those who are possible running mates, I see them closely sitting in pairs.
An alliance of running mates.
So alliance of running mates. So yes, so we're waiting to see who at the end of the day makes their way to the top job as the running mate for Dr. Bawumia.
Who also have you seen there that I mean jumps at you? I mean, because we have to also paint the picture for you.
Well, the room is full. There are three levels. Yeah. So the ground floor is very filled up now. I think Mr. Hackman also Achaman just arrived and is taking his seat. Yes, and I also see quite a number of Matthew Poko Pempe, Dr. Matthew Poko Pempe is also around.
You have to also mention that
and Dr. Duchu, yes, he's also around. Yes, every name we've heard connected to the running mate position is in here, and I think the entire rank and file of the entire party is here. As we're speaking now, the First Lady has just arrived to a standing ovation, and flag by her.
That he envisages for us as a country. We should comfortably end this day by knowing a leader that we can trust, a leader who...
After his speech, we journalists...
skills. You don't just put money into the hands of people. The whole idea is to make sure that we build the platform for these young people to thrive. First of all, get proper education, not get truncated at the basic level. Get through senior high school education, through the free senior high school. Now he has introduced the guarantor-only loan for that poor child that went to free senior high school to also be able to access university without financial burden. And then once you are done, you will not be able to access some of these programs and policies ready for you to go into proper entrepreneurship. In the past, what we've been doing is that we just develop programs, put it into the hands of people who are not well equipped, and then the money gets spent. There is a story being told, and that story is being told in a way to the point where these entrepreneurs are going to be set up and it's going to be sustainable.
It's good to make that point, but do not forget that you had a certain Napco in the past, and we have seen how Napco has ended. And it's going to be an indictment on your administration and also the office of the Vice President, don't you think?
So, that's our objective. Our objective is any other issue that what the introduction of Napco, the objective was when we even had an association top producer, which will run for 3 years. Provide services to the state and other private institutions, build their skills and add value to themselves through experience, and hopefully within that period they would have found jobs. It is there in the president's statement. Okay. And so any other issue that has come up was about 67,000 or so had gotten employment through the period, with about 40, close to over 40,000 who could not find jobs. What do we do with them? That has nothing to do with Napco. Napco's objective was clear and it was achieved. And that's the point that I think is fair that we make. When the president launched Napco, he went clearly through the objective of Napco, and that was achieved. So the close to 60,000 that were employed during the Napco period, not all of them were even absorbed by government. Some of them during the period applied for jobs elsewhere and they left. But the objective of Napco was not for it to be a permanent stay, but it was to serve as a stopgap.
So it's a temporary solution. Lily, you can come in.
But that was the objective. That was the objective.
Now, you know, being a woman, I am interested to know what the Vice President's vision is with regards to women in his government. If he is given the nod, you know that sure that, I mean, over the period, we've thrown this around, even in the media, with regards to the numbers.
I agree. And I'm saying that the Vice President has planned for that. But not all the issues will be captured in the 1 hour, 30-minute statement that he is going to be making. The manifesto is going to capture the details of all of these issues, and subsequent engagement that the Vice President will have with the other stakeholders from tomorrow would also dissect that. And you should definitely see the issue of women in the speech that he will be giving this evening.
Let's move forward. Dr. Bawumia is known for the digitalization agenda. The criticism against him is that he campaigned on the economy, but when he became president, he switched camp to digitalization because of the performance of the government in managing the economy. How is he going to defend that, or how do you defend that?
First of all, that assertion is false. The performance of this economy has been almost perfect between 2017 and 2021. You would agree that when we took office in 2016, we had a double-digit inflation. We reduced it, and for 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 4 good years, we are running a single-digit inflation. We are running a positive GDP, an improvement in our GDP for 4 good years. So it is not true that the economy has been in shambles. It is also true that in the year 2020, all countries across the world, including Ghana, encountered a pandemic that disrupted the global economy that no other country has seen in the last 120 years. And so all countries were working to get themselves out of it. Is it not true that the United States of America is grappling with a 40-year inflation? Is it not true that the United Kingdom is grappling with a 40-year inflation? So there is evidence to back the fact that all countries in the world are trying to recover from an economic disruption. And so the Vice President has never ever run away from the issues of economy. What the Vice President has said is that based on the Bawumia is preaching.
Now, beyond digitalization, what are the 5 key areas that he will be focusing on? You say that we need to bring back a resilient economy. What are the 5 key areas he will be talking about in turning around the corner, like you people would say?
Don't force me into saying the things that my boss will be saying.
No, I'm not forcing you.
Let me give us an inkling.
Yes, give us an inkling so that we know that.
He will speak about the economy. He will speak about education. He will speak about health. He will speak about employment.
Will he speak about running mates?
No. He will not speak about running mates.
Will he speak about where the key is with regards to the IGP?
Yes, he will speak about it.
Is the key with the IGP?
He will speak about it.
He will speak about it.
Keys also get message, don't they?
If you're just joining us, this is live coverage on multiple media platforms. We are bringing you the coverage of Dr. Bawumia's address to the nation, which address will be the first time he's doing so since being elected the flag bearer of the new patriotic party, the first of so many things, the first Northerner to be doing so, and like Inshirado said to me, the first non-lawyer to be flag bearer of the NPP. It is happening at the UPSA here in Accra. My name is Umar Rusandamado. With City FM and City TV. I'm doing this with Kwame Inshirado, with
you keep calling me Kwame, it's Kweku Inshirado.
with Adansie Radio, and of course Lily Mohammed with GH1. And we are bringing in some of the key personalities here every now and then. We had earlier Pagri Boachi Dankwa, where we engage him about what is going to happen. We currently have with us in our makeshift studio, Dennis Miracles Abuaje. Meanwhile, behind me, lots of dignitaries seated. The former President John Agyapong Kufuor is here for this momentous occasion. The spouse of the President, Rebecca Kufuor, is also to support the Vice President. We're expecting the Vice President to come in soon, any moment from now, based on what we have been told. All the people who have been named as potential running mates are having front row seats here. Talk about Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, the Minister for Energy, or the Minister for Education, Dr. Yawose Educhum. We also have the Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu. You are not a running mate.
Miracles.
You are not currently a running
Miracles.
But Dennis, are we possibly looking at a female candidate for the running mate slot?
Anybody.
So it could be you.
Has the NPP thought of a female running mate?
You brought that thing about nobody knew Dr. Bawumia. They're jostling for running mate for him. Is it not that? Is it not overwhelmed by all these people wanting to be running mate?
It has never been different. Even during his time, in 2008, the jostling was more than this. And then they were all in the room waiting to be mentioned, and then they brought Bawumia. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. Because at the end of the day, The president is looking for a vice president that will complement him.
Does he need the blessing of Kufuor, his boss, to choose a running
He doesn't.
Are you sure?
He needs a ratification of the National Council.
Yeah, but
he doesn't need another.
The man who brought him from the obscure corner in the Bank of Ghana.
You said need.
Okay, need.
You said need.
Okay.
So I know for
a
fact that because of the relationship that exists between him and another Danko Kufuor, he will definitely seek counsel. He will seek counsel from a lot of elders in the party. He will go to President Kufuor. He will go to Nanado. He will go to the elders of the party. He will consult, but ultimately the decision is his.
Are you sure?
Definitely.
But we are hearing things on the ground.
Like what?
That Adansie doesn't like somebody.
So you see, there is a point you were going to make earlier, and then you left it. This falsehood and propaganda about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia not going to be a man on his own is the worst of thinking that I've ever heard. In fact, when they say that he should prove that he will be a man of himself, I'm surprised. Because the social science data available and the evidence available rather supports the fact that no two leaders are ever the same. All over the world.
Right.
There is nowhere in the world since centuries till now where we've had two leaders being the same. In fact, even our traditional system where it is hereditary and it's inheritance, one uncle will leave and the nephew will come. You never have them being the same. And so if there's anybody that needs to bring evidence, it should be the proponents of that point that should bring evidence. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kufuor would have taken that he, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, if voted president, would not take those.
He's going to depart, and would that be very visible? We'll see that for departing on Free Senior High School, he's departing on E-Levy, for instance. He will make that pronouncement.
If in his speech today, if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia disagrees with any and ultimate responsibility, do with City TV, that if you are going to go into a production, you may say that you don't want a microphone that you will hold. You want a microphone you will clip. But if the production decide that you will hold it, you will have no choice than to hold it. That does not mean that you have departed from it, but it only means that if you become the man in charge, you will not use the holding microphone, but you use the lapel.
Right. So while we've been talking, Katie Hammond, the Minister for Trade, has arrived. Francis Asensubachi is also arrived. Professor, yes, from Bantama. Professor Mike Aaron-Ekwe, former speaker, has also arrived and taken his seat. Exactly. And there are quite a number of people. I've seen Accra Commando. Henry Korte is also in the building. I mean, every person that you can count as a stalwart of the party or serving in government, and the room is full. Now, we're being told by the Master of Ceremonies that the Vice President is almost here. He's billed to arrive at exactly 5:15, which is about 9 minutes away. So we have about 9 minutes to wrap this conversation up. Lily, you had a question for
right, I was asking.
Miracle.
He says that one of the things is his vision. If he had a vision, that's okay, that's fine. Why did he shelve it from the Kufuor government? I mean, he's the chairman of the EMT, the Economic Management Team.
So Umaru Sanda wants to use the lapel.
Right.
The decision of the production is for him to hold a microphone. He can't say that because he didn't get a lapel, he will not do his job. He will still come and hold the microphone and do his job. But if Umaru Sanda,
exactly.
Is he going to sell out his government?
If any leader,
how many of the decisions had his seal of approval?
but if Umaru Sanda gets the opportunity to become, but if Umaru Sanda gets the opportunity to become the head of production, he may not use a microphone. That notwithstanding, any leader that supports the collective responsibility, the collective action,
Right.
and later comes out of it to bastardize it. It's a leader you shouldn't trust. What do you do? He will not tell you the things he didn't support. He will tell you the new things he will do. He will do differently.
So essentially, he's just going to tell us, I will improve on A, B, C, and D.
Yes, or I'll do this differently, I'll do this differently, I'll do this differently.
So if you say I'll do it differently, it means that
He didn't support.
SHS, they did it like this, they did double track, I don't like it. I will cancel.
He doesn't have to add, I don't like it. Maybe the double track period has come for it to be terminated.
So if he says it,
You see, the point is that I may not like it. It won't be that I didn't like it.
Okay.
Double track was necessary probably at a certain point. You see, Nana Kufuor had a vision. The vision definitely should be within the confines of 8 years. Nothing more, nothing less. It is time for that vision to terminate.
Would he tell us that he didn't like E-Levy, but they brought it?
He doesn't have to tell you. What he has to tell you is that I believe E-Levy going into the future should be in this direction.
Is that what you're saying he will say?
I am saying that that is what a leader of his sort will do.
Okay.
But you don't know that is what you say. You're just preempting.
No, I'm telling you that the views, the new things he wants to introduce, or the new direction he wants to go, be rest assured that he will mention them. But your interpretation is what I want to correct this on air today. That the vice president has been categorical. That the fact that he's charting new path doesn't mean that he has any problem whatsoever. And I've given you a practical example. That the fact that you are holding this microphone, even though you want a lapel, doesn't mean that you have any problem with your production team. But if you have the mandate to take the decision, you would use a lapel and not a microphone.
Right, so I think at this point, Miracles, I would like for us to move slightly away from the economy and all the other stuff. This has to do with, see, if you look at the voices from across civil society, the opposition, everyone has talked about the size of Nana Kufuor's government. Do you foresee Dr. Bawumia making any comments around how he intends the size of his government to be?
Like I said, I will not be drawn into taking the wind out of his mouth. But I work with him, and I know that if Dr. Bawumia becomes president, he will have a lesser size government than we have at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Miracles, the name of Dr. is a man who is working with the vice president, and he's just joining us now. Let me just say that the broadcast we are bringing you is from the UPSA, and permit me to just do a 360 and show you what's happening here. Where the flag of the new patriotic party, also vice president of the land, is just arriving now. He is being welcomed with thousands of supporters to bring in, to listen to the speech that's going to be addressed
for the 2024 elections.
Addressing the party members having obtained or taken the flag of New Patriotic Party flag bearer, and for some reason everybody is using miniature flags that they are using to welcome the flag bearer of the NPP here, and they are giving it the national picture, the patriotic picture, where they say to us that it is only to NPP members, but it's also speaking to Ghanaians as a whole. Because mind you, is the vice president of the land. He can be acting president anytime. He has been vice president for 7 years, and he has been doing his job for the past 7 years. Whatever Kufuor will be blamed and accused of, he would equally share that blame and be accused of same. We're just waiting for his grand entry into the UPSA hall, and all of that happening. Let me bring in the newly minted parliamentary candidate of Agyapong Central, the former journalist, now turned politician, Jefferson Saki of International Affairs. My brother, you're welcome.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
So you work for Nana Kufuor as Deputy Communications Director. Now you are here with Dr. Bawumia. Is there a way you can differentiate these two persons and say Bawumia starts now, Kufuor ends now? Is that even possible?
Well, I think I started working with Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia back in 2007, when the then candidate Nana Kufuor chose him as his running mate. And so have a clear idea of how, you know, the two have worked hand in hand together. I know the charisma of the president and the charisma of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I think Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is the kind, reserved type of personality who finds a way of, you know, putting his message across in a very unique way. He's got his own style. And I'm very confident that, I mean, if there is a clear way to make those distinctions, it is very obvious for you to see. Bawumia is a reserved type. Kufuor is that man who is quiet but action in one way or the other. So those two things are clear examples.
Today? What are the things we should be looking out today?
Well, I think we should expect some new direction. Obviously, what Ghanaians are looking out for is a leader who would bring something new. Even though perhaps he will be willing to build upon a continuity of what has been done already. What I know for a fact is that Bawumia will be a driver of his own. If he's able to put his messages across clearly and well for Ghanaians to understand, I am very certain that Ghanaians will be very convinced that yes, this will not only be a phase that has been in existence over the past 8 years, but a different phase and a different direction moving into 2025.
Now Jefferson, you talk about continuity. I mean, look at the ordinary Ghanaian now. They complain about bread and butter, basic bread and butter issues. If then it is for continuity, why then must the Ghanaian choose Dr. Bawumia? Because the ordinary Ghanaian says, I am being punished in terms of taxes and the economic crisis that we are facing.
What I'm very certain is that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is not going to be a continuation of this administration.
Right.
What I know is that he has his own vision. It is very important that, you know, this message that he's going to deliver tonight is able to spell that out. Having said that, it is also very important for him to deliver his record for Ghanaians to see that as Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, what were your achievements? What are the marks that shows that yes, you've been a very successful Vice President, and so if the Ghanaian people give you the mandate as the President of the Republic of Ghana, you can deliver. But I think the records are there for all of us to see. His digitalization agenda, which is very clear. All of us today can sit in our homes and do transactions digitally. Today, the police service, the National Ambulance Service are able to trace the residence of people, obviously because of a digitalized process that he put in place. So some of these things are very important. But for tonight, it is about what's new, what's special, what uniqueness, what new energy is Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia bringing on board moving into the 2024 elections.
One of the profound statements he made prior to the 2016 general elections was moving from taxation to production. How have we fared?
Well, I think it began with a process. But obviously along the way, you know, we had challenges. I would say that in the first 3 years of the Kufuor administration, we were very clear on our minds that this is a government that knows exactly what it is doing. Our GDP records were improving. We recorded digital, you know, figures in terms of the indices and all that. But of course, we all know the challenges that hit us. And obviously, these are challenges that hit everywhere in the world. But in terms of an industrialized Ghana, that is what we are all looking out for. I think Ghanaians are going to be very specific in terms of how Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be able to transition from an Kufuor-led administration into his own personal administration that will not bring any kind of contradiction whatsoever. It is going to be positivity. The man that I know is someone who is very focused in humility. He does it on a very quiet, and I'm very certain that he's also learned a lot, obviously. When you work with somebody for a long time, knowing the strength of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and how focused he is, I mean, as a presidential candidate, his vision and mission were very consistent. His message in 2008 was not different from his message in 2012, and it wasn't different from his message in 2016. And I think we have all come to learn that consistency in politics works in one way or the other, especially if you have the people who would push your dreams and aspirations forward.
His messages. One of the messages was he didn't believe in taxing mobile money. We have not heard him speak about the e-levy. Will he speak about the e-levy? Will he shy away from the position of the current government?
I don't think it will be good for me to say exactly the things that he
But you
said.
say you know the man.
You know what? All right,
But his message for tonight, it is something exclusive to him, and we are all waiting to see exactly and hear exactly what new Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is bringing on board tonight, and that is the expectation of all parliamentary candidates here as well.
So he said to us that he was waiting to ensure that he had all your parliamentary candidates set. He didn't want trouble. Do you not think that he should have a say in who becomes parliamentary candidate where? He should have an interest. He should even sponsor candidates quietly so that he can have a full grip of the party. Kufuor, for 16 to 20 years, owns the MPP now. He should also start owning the party.
The new patriotic party understands democracy. You know, we do not impose people on constituencies, and I think the party machinery itself would always frown against something like that. And so, as an understander of democracy and the principles of the new patriotic party, I thought he thought it wise to be able to wait, no matter how long it took, for all parliamentary candidates to be elected before he delivers his message. Because mind you, we as parliamentary candidates would also be sending out his messages, right? We are only going to build upon the messages and his vision and localize it to what suits our various constituencies. So I think it is a step in the right direction.
Okay, so Jeff, let you hold on there. We are going to go to the auditorium now and receive the arrival of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Kojo Oponkruma, the Minister for Information and Media Relations, who is also the Master of Ceremony for this particular event, has just announced the entry of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Everybody has been asked to be on their feet, and they are on their feet to receive Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. They are holding the miniature Ghana flag as they celebrate. From former President John Agyapong Kufuor, who is here, to the First Lady, Madam Rebecca Kufuor, who is also here. Ministers of State, almost all ministers of State are here. I see so many deputy ministers of State who are also coming here.
So,
presidential staff,
from my part,
parliamentary candidates have come to
so from where I'm seated, the entire party leadership is from the General Secretary to the chairman of the party leading, the organizers, the dancers leading, and Dr. Bawumia is making his way through a crowd, followed immediately by his wife, Mrs. Samira Bawumia, and the entire hall is going into a frenzy with the flags of our dear nation being waved by everyone. He's made his way to the very front of the house, and he's been ushered to the seat reserved for him. The program will start as soon as the Yenara Yasasini song is sang by the Winneba Youth Choir, and the entire program will therefore be underway.
So Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President and flag bearer of the NPP, just entering the hall now. And having entered, he's shaking hands now with the persons on the front row. Several individuals of the NPP, from chairman of the party, Ahmed also Agyapong, former chairman, Freddie Wosime Wuble. I see former national organizer of Lite Kome, Lord Kome. I see also in your shot there, the Honorable Chairman Sabos, leader of the caucus in Parliament, the Deputy Speaker of the House, Joseph Zuzu. We have Attorney General Godfrey Yebo Adame, former Deputy, now Minister for...
So he's been like...
The Vice President just shakes him, the potential running mate. I am seeing he's been flanked by the his spouse doing the greetings and exchanging of pleasantries. Speaking there to all the persons who matter, the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Stephen Ayenso, and team receiving him, Rebecca Kufuor, the wife of the Vice President's boss. They just gave a very warm embrace. Okay.
flags, and he's exchanging pleasantries with colleagues who he contested the presidential candidature with. Isn't this beautiful? A party united, a party bold and strong. Give us a wave of your Ghana flag wherever you are. First floor and second floor, the leader is about to give you a wave. The leader is about to give you a wave. The leader is about to give you a wave. When the leader arrives at a sitting position, we shall remain standing for the General Assassin Day and the opening prayer. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We shall remain standing. We shall remain standing as the Winneba Youth Choir sings for us the Yenarai Assassin Apostle Into will say an opening prayer for us. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the Winneba Youth Choir. And we are very grateful to the Winneba Youth Choir for the patriotic songs ahead of this evening's engagement. We will remain standing for the opening prayer. Our colleagues in the media, please move to the media quadrant created for you.
Shall we pray? Father God, we gather here today under your care and protection. We thank you for everyone here present and those still on their way. We want to thank you also for the life
You may please resume your seats, ladies and gentlemen. We ask our colleagues in the media to kindly move to the media quadrant as we get our engagement underway. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the UPSA, from where tonight the leader of the New Patriotic Party and the party's presidential candidate for the 2024 elections, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, will soon be addressing the Republic of Ghana. For any person seeking to lead a nation, he or she must have a bold, clear vision to express. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, running on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party, has a set of bold solutions to put out to the Republic tonight. But he does this on the shoulders of giants. The MPP has been blessed with leaders who over the years have demonstrated bold visions for Ghana. J.B. Dankwa expressed bold visions of a democratic country with respect for rights. S.K. Dombo expressed a vision of a robust parliament, even if it had to cost him his own leadership. K. Buzia believed in decentralization and rural development, among others. Albert Edubuahin spoke about strong governance institutions to build a strong nation. John Agyapong Kufuor, among others, spoke about building the golden age of business. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, among others, spoke about the free senior high school program. And for the year 2024, we have a new leader. I said we have a new leader. We have a new leader in the person of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And he too will soon be setting out his vision for the Republic. Before he does so, I want to invite Dr. Antoinette Tibudako to acknowledge some of our key dignitaries who are.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. We are truly grateful to everyone who has made it here today. It is indeed a great day as we all gather to listen to the maiden speech of His Excellency, the flag bearer and leader of our great party. But we still have to mention the many who have joined us today. His Excellency, the former President of Ghana, John Agyapong Kufuor, thank you for coming here today. Her Excellency, the beautiful First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, thank you for joining us today. Her Excellency, the awesome, unique, and spiritual Second Lady of Ghana, Hajia Samira Bawumia, the wife of our flag bearer, thank you for joining us today. Her Excellency, Honorable Frema Akosia Opare, the Ghana's first female Chief of Staff, thank you for being with us. Members of the National Council and elders of MPP, our National Chairman, my General Secretary and our General Secretary, former presidential aspirants and of the New Patriotic Party, former presidential candidates, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished traditional rulers, revered Council of Zongo Chiefs and Elders, honorable ministers and deputy ministers of state, our religious leaders and members of the Christian Council of Ghana, honorable members of parliament, our parliamentary candidates, metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, CEOs and deputies of all state agencies, past and present leadership of the New Patriotic Party from our regions and all constituencies, representatives of all political parties in Ghana, academia and heads of all institutions, civil society and non-governmental organizations, representatives of all workers' unions and other bodies, distinguished invited guests, students, our UPSA family, the Pro-VC, who is our host for today, fellow patriots from all over Ghana, our media partners from across the country, and every citizen here gathered, especially our cherished viewers on all stations and channels who are listening to us today. Our deepest appreciation for your time, for your presence, and your dedication. We promise you an exciting journey together. Thank you for joining us. And now, he is the eighth to lead the majestic Elephant Party. He is persevering and yet extremely gentle and calm, but he has a firm hand. Your Excellencies, honorable members, distinguished invited guests, fellow patriots, let us welcome with a resounding applause our national chairman, Honorable Stephen Ayesu Intim.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a very tall addressing of all the dignitaries, but I'll give it a shot. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, in the person of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia, Your Excellency, former President John Agyapong Kufuor, the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kudia Frimpong. All protocols duly observed. I am happy to welcome all of you, those of us gathered in this auditorium and those watching through various media channels, to this historic occasion. On the 4th of November 2023, we made history. The MPP made history by electing His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoudou Bawumia as the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. Not only is he the fourth presidential candidate of the party in this dispensation, but he's also the first minority candidate. This is a testament to the party's commitment to democracy and inclusivity. By electing Dr. Bawumia, we have demonstrated that we are not an exclusivist party, but one that values diversity and embraces different perspectives. I commend Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia for his exceptional determination and hard work, which has earned him the well-deserved position of the MPP's presidential candidate for 2024. I congratulate him on my behalf, as well as on behalf of all the national officers, most of whom are present here with us. Their continued support for the party and the democratic process is greatly appreciated. Indeed, our presence here today shows our love for the party and commitment to its values. Thank you for being part of our journey towards a better future. I want to express my sincere appreciation to the party's rank and file for their discipline and hard work in organizing the widely acclaimed, peaceful, and transparent presidential and parliamentary primaries. I commend your efforts, and I expect all parliamentary candidates and party executives to take immediate action by reaching out to all unsuccessful aspirants and form formidable constituency campaign teams to guarantee our party retains its majority in the 10th Parliament. Failure to do so is not an option. It is time to put aside all differences and come together. Let us bridge every gap, heal every wound, and work together with a renewed passion for victory. Remember, when we stand united, we are unstoppable. So, let's join hands and search or march in unity towards a resounding first round victory on December 7th. Having said this, it is indeed possible. I don't want to take the wind out of the sail of our flag bearer, so thank you for listening, and I leave the floor. Thank you.
I think we could do it better. Another round of applause for our honorable chairman. He is popularly called Ghana's gentle giant. He ruled from 2000 to 2008. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we now invite the most revered former president of Ghana for his message.
in terms of mastering some of the old disciplines like, say, economics, politics, and all that. But I tell you, very likely he may be found wanting sooner than later. This young man here seems to have these instruments under his belt: digitalization, geopolitics, and additionally, we've seen him perform loyally under President Kufuor, and he's been also in public view since he got selected as the vice presidential candidate in 2008. He's hallmarked by humility and the temperance requisite for the job of leading a nation in search of a way forward. Ghana has come to a crossroads, and I'm serious here. It's not the normal, regular politics we want. We want a leadership with a vision, even in the complex world I've talked about. A leader that would be able to marshal the new technologies, to pick the requisite manpower. And here, allow me, I'm a party man soundly, but I tell you, we should be talking about the nation and not so much about the party. We must get people of competence to work with him to find our way out of the confusion our society and economy have been plunged into. I wouldn't blame any side. Look at the track records of all the parties. I tell you, you can't find one that can say that in their time they were excellent or superb. No. We are in a new situation, and I believe the saying that cometh the man is now. Has come for this man and I like the theme that is posted against the wall. Look at behind the lectern there. Bold solutions for the future. Without the preparations I've talked about, understanding the new technologies and knowing and really committed to your nation to secure a decent and dignified niche in the global context for your nation. That is geopolitics. Without them, I tell you, we will continue to wallow. So I'm witnessing that it seems, look at the field or the arena of presidency now, it seems this man destiny for this time Ghana. I'm appealing to the whole nation to give him the chance to come. I have a feeling, I have a very strong feeling, he is truly the man of the moment and Ghana must accept him. So this is it. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause for His Excellency the former President John Agyapong Kufuor. And that's a handshake of blessing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost ready to receive the leader as he delivers his vision statement. Ahead of that though, Ghanaians have been expressing some expectations.
Interest rates down on a sustainable basis. You need to make sure that everybody... Ghanaians eagerly await Dr. Bawumia's address
on Ghana's next chapter. Expectations are high for bold solutions and a visionary roadmap for the future. People across the country are looking forward to the speech. Let's get on the street and find out.
My expectation as a student is that we need more jobs in the country, because as students, there are a lot of unemployment in the country, and also there's a lot of brain drains in the country whereby students are traveling to seek greener pastures elsewhere. And it doesn't really help boost or improve the economy of Ghana.
Ahead of Dr. Bawumia's speech on Wednesday, I'm expecting to see bold solutions. It's been 32 years of Ghana's fourth democracy, and we have not really seen any bold solutions.
My expertise say, Taisino ebeba from na yesu ye koja sua na yesu ye nyama tonu na eba maye na aditonu yesu ya anya kakra ewo so oma life no anya comfortable maye e maye nkrofo ene ye adwuma kitinkiti no otumi ekosro esumaye yesu
Jemi person amete free Dr. Bawumia na no say adwuma oni na na do adwuma pa o maye no obeto aso nti say free education law require any new mansu no omtwetwe any light eno na minya ne mmom di nyame pa o makoma mu ni say obeka de oba ono so beye yem pesa obeye promise do obetumi ayama en no on meka say na beye Ghana for ye nyina so ye ne beje
Dr. Bawumia wenye wa capital free ke power free ke mezi free koni ke enyeche ni price ko yawo koni ke wo wa nutumo efinefi easy yawo koni wo se kola bi we amawo enefi easy yawo
today la bana gona tinyala munya ndisi la zampa Ghana economy wa polo ka tin yo drivers 3 years ni o tila polo resident ta kama wa jama pa polo and because they kunya tijale mo se le tijale kini tutuma wane ncha o ile they were to see them park. Come on, to make small. I died of Jogi. Invent some. I say, I can't do too small. I can't passengers. Yeah, most like I can't buy. I charging my charge. I'm hearing you on the pump.
Between 2017 and now, the government of Ghana has executed tens of thousands of projects across the length and breadth of this country. We have used the taxpayers' money to deliver on public goods and services. And the time has come to tell the story and the detail of that story of what has been executed so far.
Of the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation.
We are taking the production of aquaculture from 4,000.
for parliamentary candidates, former presidential aspirants, members of the diplomatic corps, religious leaders, traditional leaders, CEOs present, invited guests, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. 3 months ago, I was elected as leader and flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party to lead the party into the 2024 elections. I am eternally grateful to His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa, the opportunity to serve as Vice President. 11 days ago, the party also completed its election of parliamentary candidates for the 2024 elections. Let me use this opportunity to also appreciate the leadership and grassroots of our beloved party, the MPP, for the seamless organization of the parliamentary primaries following on the I believe the time has now come for me to speak to you, the good people of Ghana, about my candidature, what we have experienced as a nation, my vision and priorities, and why I believe I am the best candidate for the presidency of this country. I recognize that submitting myself to your from interviewing for a job, one needs to tell a prospective employer what he has accomplished in his previous job and how he can successfully deliver in the new position he is seeking, which is what I seek to do in this speech. Even though tonight is about sharing my vision and policy priorities, I crave your indulgence to broadly set up the context. I will first talk about the record of our government and my contribution as Vice President before I lay out my vision. So I ask for your patience. Ladies and gentlemen, when we assumed office in 2017, we were confronted with an economy with declining economic growth, along with several problems and challenges. A graphic description of the state of the economy at the time was provided by the former president and my main opponent for the 2024 presidential election, who announced to the nation that the meat was finished and the economy was left with bones. Notwithstanding the difficult economy we inherited, we had to get on with it and start to fix the problems. We started with a clear, decisive, and deliberate program to, among other things, stabilize the economy, fix DUMSO, fix the National Health Insurance Scheme, fix the roads, clear the arrears, make education free and accessible, significantly enhance social protection for the vulnerable in society, industrialize our economy, tackle youth unemployment, and empower farmers. Between 2017 and 2019, all the key economic indicators, such as economic growth, agricultural growth, industry growth, interest rates, the fiscal deficit, exchange rate depreciation, and the trade balance were all moving in the right direction. However, between 2020 and 2022, we experienced severe challenges triggered by the pandemic, which brought the world and our country to a thundering halt. We may be tired of hearing it, but there is no avoiding the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war resulted in the greatest economic depression in the world since the 1930s, with most countries recording negative GDP growth. The severity, especially of the pandemic, was captured in the words of the IMF Managing Director, then as, and I quote, "This crisis like no other. This is a crisis like no other. Pandemics don't respect borders. Neither do the economic shocks they cause. The outlook is dire. We expect global economic activity to decline to a scale we have not seen since the Great Depression." End quote. Supply chain disruptions and rising price of oil resulted in major increases in the prices of fuel, freight, and food across the globe. I believe it is worth pointing out that in addition to the external factors, there were two major items of expenditure that are critical to understanding the difficult economic situation we have faced. And these are the banking sector cleanup and the energy sector excess capacity payments that we inherited. Expenditure on these three items, including the COVID-19 expenditure, cumulatively amounted to 50.1 billion Ghana cedis, and this was financed from borrowing. Ladies and gentlemen, the fiscal deficit, which was reduced from 8.4% to 4.1% in 2019, increased to 10.8% in 2020 as a result of revenue declines in the midst of increased expenditures during COVID. In addition, our debt became unsustainable. Along with many emerging economies, Ghana lost access to international capital market financing. This resulted in a balance of payments crisis as Ghana had to continue to honor its debt obligations, energy payments, and the import bill. We faced a serious global and domestic economic crisis. There were many who predicted that we were going to end up like the situation in Sri Lanka, with fuel shortages, food shortages, inability to pay workers, doomsday, anarchy, and chaos. Indeed, Ghanaians were hit hard by rising food prices, increased exchange rate depreciation, and rising fuel prices and rising transportation fares. Bond holders also saw a sharp decline in their net worth following the painful debt restructuring program. We faced very challenging times, but with calm leadership and the support and understanding of the good people of Ghana, we have weathered the storm. The government had to seek IMF support to stabilize our economy and restore fiscal and debt sustainability over 3 years. I must at this stage salute and give particular recognition to the Bank of Ghana, which has come under unfair criticism for taking the necessary measures which help pull the economy back from the brink. The Bank of Ghana provided needed financing to the government at that critical moment. What the Bank of Ghana did was very responsible in putting the interest of the good citizens of Ghana first. The data which is available shows that the financing provided to the government by the Bank of Ghana was temporary. The Bank of Ghana has provided zero financing to government in 5 out of the last 7 years. Zero financing in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2023. The Bank of Ghana financing of government in the COVID-19 year of 2020 and the liquidity crisis year of 2022 was because of the domestic and global crisis, with underperforming revenue and no access to international capital markets. Ladies and gentlemen, the good news is that the data shows that the economy is recovering from the crisis we faced. Inflation has declined from 54% in January last year to 23% in December 2023. Economic growth is rebounding, spending is under control, and the fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP has declined from 10.8% in 2020 to 4.2% in 2023. The debt to GDP ratio, after increasing from 61.2% in 2019 to 76.6% in 2021, has declined to 66.4% in 2023. And the exchange rate depreciation has also slowed down sharply since February 2023. Whereas the exchange rate depreciated by 30% in 2022, between February and December 2023, the exchange rate depreciated by only 9%. Ladies and gentlemen, what is remarkable is that notwithstanding the domestic and global crisis that we have experienced between 2020 and 2022, the economic performance as measured by the key economic indicators such as GDP growth, agricultural growth, industry growth, trade balance, exchange rate depreciation, lending rates, gross international reserves, and jobs. The performance of all these key indicators is better under our government than that of the 2013 to 2016 period, when there was no global crisis. When there was no global crisis. Let me give you 2 examples for the sake of time. You look at agricultural growth, and the stronger GDP growth performance in 2017 to 2022 period is underpinned by a strong agricultural GDP growth, which increased from an average of 2.9% between 2013 and 2016 to an average of 6% between 2017 and 2022. We have done double what we inherited, notwithstanding the crisis. We have made a lot of progress in agriculture, even though there is more to be done. Rice imports, for example, have declined by 45% from 805,000 metric tons to 440,000 metric tons between 2021 and 2023. The goal is to be a net exporter of rice by 2028. It is clear that some of our policy interventions, such as planting for food and jobs, have borne fruit. I now tackle exchange rate depreciation. On the performance of the cedi exchange rate, it is also interesting to note that between 2013 and 2016, just before we came into office, the cedi depreciated by an average of 17.7% annually. But since 2016, between 2017 and 2020, there was a significant decline in cedi depreciation to an average of 7.5%. The average cedi depreciation further declined to 6.8% between 2017 and 2021. However, the 30% depreciation of the cedi in 2022 resulted in the average depreciation of the cedi between 2017 and 2022 to be 10.75%. So again, notwithstanding the domestic and global economic crisis, the depreciation of the cedi under our government is lower than that we inherited from the 2013 to 2016 period. Let me talk about jobs. What is probably the most remarkable development in terms of the economy is that our government has created 2.1 million jobs between 2017 and 2022, notwithstanding the global economic crisis. The public sector recruited 1.2 million people, while the private sector created 975,000 jobs according to SNIT data. We recruited 100,000 more health workers, 100,000 more teachers, we more than doubled the fire service personnel, and so on. Our government clearly has created more jobs in the last 7 years than any other government in the Fourth Republic. This is truly remarkable under the circumstances, even though we still have to create more jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, clearly, notwithstanding the economic crisis, this government has been able to steer the ship of the nation away from catastrophe. In the face of the crisis, overall performance of the economy in areas such as GDP growth, agricultural growth, industrial growth, trade balance, gross international reserves, and job creation has demonstrated resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, available data also shows that notwithstanding the challenging economy we inherited and the global economic crisis that ensued, government has chalked a large number of achievements across the country. Due to the constraints of time, I will only be able to enumerate a few of these achievements. However, government will soon outdoor our performance tracker in the next few weeks, which will detail all of our achievements in every sector and every district in the Republic of Ghana. But I will name just a few of the achievements. We have undertaken a major roads construction and rehabilitation program across the country, over 11,674 kilometers of roads according to data from the Ministry of Roads and Highways. I am not aware of any government that has done as much in the road sector since 1992. We have initiated and overseen the construction and rehabilitation of more railways than any other government since 1992. At Chimota in Sawam, Accra, Tema, Kojokrom Takwa, Kojokrom Manso, and Tema Mpakada. We have extended the rural telephony network to more areas than any other government since 1992. We have increased the network from 78 sites to 1,008 sites. We have constructed more fish landing sites than any other government. Exim, Dix Cove, Moree, Mumford, Teshi, Keta, Osu, Ekumfi, and Mfansiman. Ladies and gentlemen, our government has constructed more sports facilities than any other government since 1992. We have completed 6 new multi-purpose sports stadia and 4 ongoing in each of the 10 regions, 10 old regions. We completed the University of Ghana Stadium in Legon, built constructed more infrastructure and implemented more development policies in the Zongo communities than any other government since 92. The Zongo Development Fund has completed over 200 infrastructure projects in Zongo communities. We have also extended NHIS coverage to childhood cancers and hydroxyurea medicine for sickle cell patients. Ladies and gentlemen, we provided free electricity to lifeline consumers and a 50% discount to other consumers for a whole year during COVID-19. It is important, and it is very important that you hear this, that between 2009 and 2016, the average annual increase in the electricity tariffs was 50% a year between 2009 and 2016. Average annual increase was 50% a year. Between 2017 and 2023, on the other hand, the average annual increase has been 11.1%. This is the lowest average annual increase in end user. gentlemen, I want to go digital now. We were elected into office in December 2016 to solve many of the systemic problems and challenges that our citizens were facing, and which we had highlighted in our manifesto. For example, there was no unique identity, no property address system, fake birth certificates, and so on. We had lived with many of these problems since independence. For me, to lead is to solve. Indeed, all my adult life, my biggest motivation is about finding solutions. Solutions that improve lives. Solutions that make public services efficient and accessible. Solutions that make society progress. Solutions that protect the public purse. Solutions that make our businesses competitive. I derive my greatest satisfaction from solving problems, and I have done so whenever I am given the opportunity, and will do more if I am given the mandate to do so. I had long held the view that many of these problems facing the economy could be resolved through digitalization. In fact, in my 2010 book on monetary policy and financial sector reform in Africa, I proposed digitalization, amongst others, as the way forward for African countries. So when we assumed office in 2017, as Vice President, I made the decision, with the blessings and support of the President, to focus on the critical but underdeveloped systems that would expand the economy, improve systems, and create jobs through digitalization. Therefore, as the Finance Minister oversees the budget through fiscal policy, the Governor of the Central Bank also focused on monetary and exchange rate policy, I focused on the complementary data and systems improvement that would ensure the ease of doing business and change the fundamentals of the economy, making it more dynamic and responsive to modern trends, and the management of it more scientific and efficient. Ladies and gentlemen, I was thankfully appointed as chairman of the economic management team. As a subcommittee to cabinet, we do not have any decision-making powers, but I am very proud of the quality of advice we have been providing over the years to cabinet. As Vice President, I was asked by the President to assist in solving some of the problems that were inhibiting the transformation of Ghana's economy. My approach was to help formalize the economy through digitalization, as stated in our 2016 manifesto. This is why my office has had oversight responsibility for many of the government's digitalization projects. We can only build a vibrant nation if we have strong systems and institutions that work. Very soon, artificial intelligence will transform the world. How are we preparing Ghana for this new phenomenon? I will now come to how we are using digitalization to transform the economy and preparing our society to be competitive, as Africa is busily becoming the largest single market in the world with its 1.4 billion people. Ladies and gentlemen, a major problem that we had as a country was the absence of a unique identity for citizens and residents. With oversight from my office, The National Identification Authority moved very quickly with the issuance of the biometric national ID cards, the Ghana card, to the population. The Ghana card project was initiated by President Kufuor. So far, some 17 million people have been enrolled on the Ghana card by the NIA. I would like to note that between 2007 and 2016, only 900,000 Ghana cards were issued. With the Ghana card, the identity of the people, even dead people, can be established using their fingerprints. With the Ghana card, every Ghanaian, regardless of locations or status, whether rich or poor, now can be officially registered and recognized as a Ghanaian. Before this, it was possible for someone to be born, live and die in Ghana without ever being registered. Identity fraud, age cheating, football age, people cheating on their retirement age, fake birth certificates, fake passports will no longer be possible with the Ghana card. Today, because your Ghana card is linked to your bank account and your SIM card, people cannot just go and borrow money from the bank and disappear and appear with a new name as used to happen, and this led to higher interest rates. The Ghana card can also be used to travel from abroad into Ghana from 44,000 airports in the world. The Ghana card is a major element in many of the digitalization initiatives that we are undertaking. That is why its successful implementation has been so important to me. Ladies and gentlemen, to solve the problem of a lack of a working address system in Ghana, with oversight from my office, we have leveraged on GPS technology to implement a digital address system for Ghana, capturing every square inch of land or water in Ghana. Today, every property in Ghana has a unique digital address, along with street names and house numbers. And finding directions to any location is now very easy. Ladies and gentlemen, we faced a major problem of a very few people having access to financial services. To solve this problem, I championed the implementation of mobile money interoperability. Mobile money interoperability has made it possible to transfer money seamlessly across different mobile money providers and between bank accounts and mobile wallets. Today, because of mobile money interoperability, you can transfer money from a customer of one mobile money service provider to a customer of a different mobile money service provider, and also make payments from your mobile money account into any bank account, and you can receive payments from any bank account into your mobile money account. Ladies and gentlemen, you can do this 24 hours a day. Apart from achieving financial inclusion, mobile money interoperability has also significantly promoted a cashless culture, especially by our market women and the business community, thus reducing robberies and attacks on market women and business folks on our highways. Robbers armed robbers used to attack vehicles carrying traders, knowing they were carrying cash. But now, many traders don't carry cash because they keep their monies on their mobile wallets for seamless transactions wherever they are. Today, because of mobile money interoperability, you can also receive remittances from abroad directly onto your mobile wallet without the need to go to a bank or Western Union money transfer. Because the mobile money account performs just like a bank account, as a result of mobile money interoperability, over 90% of Ghanaian adults have mobile money accounts that function just like bank accounts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have basically solved the problem of financial exclusion in Ghana. The State of Inclusive Instant Payment Report has ranked Ghana as the #1 in Africa in terms of access to financial inclusion. #1 in the whole of Africa. Today, because of digitalization, anyone can do banking and digital financial transactions 24 hours a day. The data shows that at the end of 2016, the total cumulative value of mobile money transactions was 78.5 billion Ghana cedis at the end of 2016. Following mobile money interoperability, the total cumulative value of mobile money transactions has increased from 78.5 billion to 1.9 trillion cedis in 2023. Therefore, between 2016 and 2023, following mobile money interoperability, Momo transactions have increased by 2,335%, a 23-fold increase. This is why Ghana continues to be the fastest growing mobile money market in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital payments infrastructure that we have put in place is boosting e-commerce in Ghana. Businesses are booming over Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so many people who could not afford to rent or build shops. Ghana is currently ranked #6 in Africa in terms of e-commerce. #6 in Africa, behind Mauritius, Nigeria, South Africa, Tunisia, and Morocco, according to AMTA. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing corruption in the public service, our approach to improving delivery of public services is to minimize human contact as much as possible. Therefore, we embarked on an aggressive digitalization of processes of service delivery across many public institutions with coordination from my office. When you look at the passport office, we have digitalized the passport office with oversight from my office. With digitalization, the average turnaround for acquisition of passports has been significantly reduced. And today, because of digitalization of the passport office, you can apply for your passport online from your home 24 hours a day. The digitalization of the passport application process has resulted in a major increase in the number of passports processed annually, as well as the revenue yield to the passport office. In 2018, The total number of passports issued was 346,911. And the revenue generated in 2018 was 11.8 million. By 2023, following digitalization, the Passport Office issued 751,761 passports with revenue of 94 million Ghana cedis. The ultimate objective is to eradicate human interface in all phases of the passport application process, to give true meaning to the online filing and processing of forms. I will come back to this issue of passport shortly when I get into my vision and priorities. Then we went to the ports. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, previously, the bureaucracy in the clearing of goods at Ghana's ports involved a lot of paperwork, which used to be largely manual. This caused delays, corruption, inefficiencies, frustration, and loss of revenue to government. Many citizens who had cleared goods at the country's ports had horror stories about their experiences at the port. With oversight from my office, the introduction of a paperless port system has reduced the layers and simplified the process, reduced the time needed to clear goods and the avenues for corruption, and increased efficiencies and revenue mobilization at the ports. Digitalization has also taken place at the Drivers and Vehicle Licensing Authority, which offers two traditional services: digitalization of the motor insurance in Ghana. Members of the public can now self-check the authenticity of their insurance policy by dialing a USSD code *920*57# and follow the instructions. You put in the number, it will tell you whether the car is insured or is not insured. So today, you can know the status of the vehicle, is the insurance status of any vehicle 24 hours a day. Today, because of digitalization, you can also apply for insurance for your vehicle on your mobile phone and receive your insurance sticker electronically. And you can do this 24 hours a day. Ladies and gentlemen, with oversight from my office, we have digitized the births and deaths registry, and we have just completed the integration of the births and deaths registry with the databases of the Ghana Health Service and the National Identification Authority, so that the record of births and deaths would be consistent across all of these databases. Starting this quarter, in fact, I will launch this in a few weeks, but starting this quarter, newborn children in Ghana will be given a Ghana card number. But the actual Ghana card will be issued when the child is 6 years old, when his or her biometrics are fully formed. So we are bringing a brochure to Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, in the past, candidates applying for a scholarship usually had to travel from all parts of Ghana to Accra to take part in the application process. This caused a great deal of inconvenience for applicants seeking government sponsorships. The manual processes of the Scholarship Secretariat resulted in an inefficient administration of scholarships in the country. With the digitalization of the Scholarship Secretariat, candidates can now apply for scholarship from the comfort of their homes 24 hours a day and take aptitude tests and be interviewed in their own districts. The Ghana.gov platform. Ladies and gentlemen, to make it easy to access government services, I led the initiative to establish the Ghana.gov platform, which was implemented with oversight from my office. The Ghana.gov platform is a one-stop shop for accessing government services. So far, out of the 1,516 ministries, departments, and agencies targeted, we have onboarded 1,503 of them onto the Ghana.gov platform for e-government services. So 99% of MMDAs have been onboarded on the Ghana.gov platform. All payments on the Ghana.gov platform go directly into the government accounts to ensuring transparency. Since 2020, a total of 201 billion Ghana cedis has been collected for government on the platform. For services onboarded and receiving payments, you should be able to apply for and obtain any government service online through the Ghana.gov platform 24 hours a day. Digitalization has therefore dealt a severe blow to correct the corruption involved in the collection of payments by different institutions for government. The progress Ghana has made in the provision of e-government services is remarkable. According to the UNDP 2022 e-governance index, Ghana is ranked #1 in West Africa and #4 in the whole of Africa in terms of e-governance. And we are ahead of countries such as Rwanda, Botswana, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Kenya, and Uganda. With oversight from my office, ladies and gentlemen, digitalization at the Electricity Company of Ghana has allowed the buying of electricity credit on your mobile phone through the mobile ECG app. This has provided relief to customers who no longer have to queue for long hours to buy electricity units. Also, for people whose credit runs out at odd hours, they can purchase electricity credit on their mobile phones 24 hours a day. Now, for people who need a new service or a separate meter from ECG, they can also apply online 24 hours a day. 3.5 million people are on the ECG app. And as a result of digitalization, ECG's monthly revenue collections have increased from 450 million Ghana cedis a month to 1.2 billion Ghana cedis a month. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana has a major challenge in the area of domestic revenue mobilization. The tax to GDP ratio is about 14%, compared to 27% for South Africa and 34% for the advanced OECD countries. Most adults in Ghana are outside the tax net, and compliance is very low. At the beginning of 2017, only 4% of the population of Ghana had tax identification numbers. To increase the number of people with tax identification numbers, I propose that we designate the Ghana card as the tax identification number. In doing this, we have increased the percentage of adults with tax identification numbers from 4% to 85%. It is now incumbent on the GRA to use this database in tax collection to broaden the tax net. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, with oversight from my office, the SNIT, National Health Insurance, GRA, Controller and Accountant General Payroll, DVLA, SIM cards, and bank accounts have all linked to the NIA database linked to the Ghana card. Today, your SNIT number is your Ghana card number. Your NHIS number is your Ghana card number. Your TIN number is your Ghana card number. The integration of the database is allowing us to successfully weed out ghost workers on payroll. A biometric audit of the National Service Scheme payroll found about 44,707 ghost workers and potential ghost workers between 2022 and 2024. And this has saved Ghana a total of 356 million Ghana cedis. Also, SNIT has suspended payment of 480 million Ghana cedis to 29,000 ghost pensioners using the Ghana card system. Ladies and gentlemen, we have also recently integrated the Controller and Accountant General Payroll database with the NIA database to eliminate ghost workers on government payroll. Through digitalization, we have finally been able to solve the long-standing problem of ghost workers on government payroll. Ladies and gentlemen, many people, including highly educated people, find the process of filing taxes complex. To make it easier and less cumbersome to file taxes, I challenged the GRA to come up with a simple to use mobile app to enable ordinary people to file and pay taxes using their mobile phones. And this has been done. Today, you can file your taxes 24 hours a day on your mobile phone. Ladies and gentlemen, in the area of healthcare, digitalization of hospital medical records, to make healthcare easily accessible across the country, we have overseen the connection of health facilities under the Ghana Health Service onto one digital platform. So far, all teaching hospitals, all regional hospitals, and all district hospitals have been connected and can talk to each other. The goal is to network over 90% of all hospitals in Ghana by the end of next year. So currently, if you are referred from a hospital like Tamale Teaching Hospital to Kolebu Teaching Hospital, you do not need to carry a folder. All your records will be seen and monitored by the doctor in Kolebu when you arrive. Patients will have only one digital folder wherever they go. Your health records can be accessed 24 hours a day from any of the 302 network hospitals. Ladies and gentlemen, digitizing the operations of the National Health Insurance Authority has helped to reduce fraudulent claims. The renewal of all national health insurance registrations used to take place at various NHIA district offices. This led to backlogs and long queues. In some instances, people slept for days at some district hospitals. These delays hampered the operations and limited the revenue streams of the NHIA. With oversight from my office, we have digitalized the enrollment and renewal of the National Health Insurance membership. Following digitalization, renewal of National Health Insurance registration via mobile phone can now take place 24 hours a day. And this has eliminated the bottlenecks that were there. I now come to drones. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember with so much pain when my father underwent an operation in Tamale Teaching Hospital. He was losing blood that night, and the doctors were trying to get blood for him. We rushed to the hospital blood bank, but it was closed. I tried to get the phone number of the one in charge and made several calls, but he did not pick up. We were running against time, and by the morning, my father had died. That painful experience is forever with me. So when I heard about zipline drone in an emergency, I was determined to get it for Ghana, to save many lives that are needlessly lost. I went to Silicon Valley in the USA, and I had a meeting with the co-founder of Zipline, Robert Keller, and convinced him to set up Zipline in Ghana. When I announced the imminent arrival of Zipline in Ghana, our friends in the opposition said that the drones were for taking pictures of women in their bathrooms. Ladies and gentlemen, previously, hospitals and clinics in remote and largely rural communities like Nyangosre in Afajato South, Afram Plains, Yagaba, or Yunyo had difficulty of getting medical supplies, especially in times of emergencies involving snake bites, childbirth, blood loss, floods, and so on. Many lives are needlessly lost because the hospitals are unable to access critically needed supplies on time. To address this problem, Ghana opted to partner Zipline, the world's largest automated on-demand delivery service for medical supplies. We've established 6 Zipline distribution centers in Omanako, in the Eastern region, Panya, Ashanti, Mampong, Vopsi in Northeast region, Seshuri also, Kitikrachi, Enum, and Zipline has made millions of deliveries of medicines, blood, and vaccines to many remote parts of Ghana and has saved many lives. Ladies and gentlemen, Zipline services are available 24 hours a day. I should add rather proudly that Ghana is currently has the largest medical drone delivery service in the whole world. The whole world. What is even more impressive is that the drone centers are 100% manned by young, talented Ghanaians. They are manning all of the drones. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2019, I challenged the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana during their annual meeting in Ho to go digital and place all pharmacies in Ghana on a digital platform for ease of access by Ghanaians. The Pharmacy Council, in collaboration with the private sector, has completed the work on a digital platform for all pharmacies in Ghana. Basically, the National Electronic Pharmacy Platform will offer the opportunity for everybody through a mobile phone to upload your prescriptions and find out which pharmacies near you have the medicines. Secondly, You can compare the prices of the same drug offered by the different pharmacies and decide where you want to order from. And those orders will be delivered using your digital address at home. Ghanaians will experience the e-pharmacy platform in full operation this year when every pharmacy is onboarded. E-pharmacy services will be available 24 hours a day. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last 7 years, we have witnessed what some international observers have described as an extraordinary digitalization of the Ghanaian economy. But this extraordinary digitalization has not happened in a vacuum. We have had to put in place critical infrastructure to support digitalization. I should note that 93% of NCA licensed fiber optic cable in Ghana, the total licensed fiber optic cable is 7,234 kilometers, but 93% of that was put in place since 2017. Since 2017. In addition, we've implemented a national government cloud infrastructure, cybersecurity infrastructure, deployed the public key infrastructure, PKI, to provide another layer of security to students, to citizens, to support digitalization. Ladies and gentlemen, what is remarkable about Ghana's digitalization journey is that the various initiatives were implemented using local IT companies and local talent. It was deliberately done that way. So, ladies and gentlemen, if as my prospective employer, you ask me the question, so Dr. Bawumia, you want to be president of Ghana, can you tell us what you did for Ghana in your capacity as vice president? I will say in response that I have, with the support of the president, I've had the honor and the privilege to be given the opportunity to initiate, champion, or oversee many problem-solving policy initiatives. Many of these include many of the digitalization initiatives that I have just discussed, the no guarantor student loans with a Ghana card, one constituency, one ambulance, zipline drones, Agenda 111, the Sino-Hydro Barter Agreement, provision of hydroxyurea for sickle cell patients, Zongo Development Fund, the Bank of Ghana Gold Purchase Program, the Gold for Oil Policy, abolishing the filling of embarkation cards, Go Ride taxi service, the system to tackle ghost names on the public payroll, and many more. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, to note that many of the transformational policy initiatives that we have introduced since 2017 are being done for the first time since independence. What is interesting is that because many of them have not been done before, many people who think in terms of impossibility argue that they were not possible, but we have made them possible. Criticisms and name calling eventually gave way to reality as the nation is greatly benefiting from these initiatives. What we have been able to accomplish so far shows that it is possible for Ghana to achieve many things that some believe to be impossible. It is possible if we put our minds to it. We need to break the shackles of impossibility and embrace the mindset of possibility. Ladies and gentlemen, I now come to my vision. As Vice president, I am like a driver's mate. But by the grace of God, if you make me the president, I will be in the driver's seat with constitutional... I will be in the driver's seat with constitutionally mandated authority to pursue my vision and my priorities. So what do I want to do in terms of vision and priorities and policies if you give me the opportunity by the grace of God to become president of the Republic of Ghana? Ladies and gentlemen, in this regard, I have been engaged in a lot of consultation and doing a lot of thinking in the last few months about the lessons of the last 7 years, as well as my vision and priorities as I seek to become President of the Republic of Ghana. Clearly, the initial conditions that we inherited in 2017 are not the same as will be in 2025. Therefore, my priorities will be different. We have done many good things, and I will be seeking to build upon them. My vision, ladies and gentlemen, is to create a tent big enough to accommodate all our people, to tap into the resourcefulness and talents of our people, irrespective of our different ethnic, political, and religious backgrounds, to channel our energies into building the kind of country that assures food, self-sufficient, safe, prosperous, and a dignified future for all Ghanaians. To create sustainable jobs with meaningful pay for all and for Ghana to participate fully in the fourth industrial revolution using systems and data. To realize this vision, we must have a mindset of possibilities and not impossibilities. The challenges we must overcome as a country are too important to let our political differences derail us. There is a critical failure of mindset that manifests itself in the absence of core values, patriotism, and principles within our society. We need to invigorate the can-do spirit of the Ghanaian, to believe that we can do better than we have ever imagined if we put our minds to it. For example, our student from Mamfi Girls High School, Prempeh College, have won international robotic competitions against their peers in the US, Germany, and South Korea. We must apply the same mindset of beating the world in robotics, singathons, and cookathons to every sphere of economic activity. We must believe that it is possible. This must be inculcated in our children from home and in school. This is why we are going to introduce a growth mindset curriculum in our schools to help students build critical skills such as problem solving, risk taking, opportunity spotting, and design thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, in the area of macroeconomic stability, a major goal of my government would be to attain and sustain macroeconomic stability with low inflation, low interest rates, exchange rate stability, and low budget deficits. In terms of prudently managing our expenditures, to reduce the budget deficit and interest rates, my government will enhance fiscal discipline through an independent Fiscal Responsibility Council enshrined in the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2018, Act 982. The Fiscal Responsibility Act will also be amended to add a fiscal rule that requires that budgeted expenditure in any year does not exceed 105% of the previous year's tax revenue. This will prevent the experience of budgetary expenditures based on optimistic revenue forecasts, which many a time do not materialize. Ladies and gentlemen, furthermore, my government will reduce the fiscal burden on government by leveraging the private sector. Under the two-term administration of my boss, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Kufuor's government, we have put in place many social safety nets like free SHS, free TVET, and so on. With all these social safety nets in place, my government will now focus on jobs and wealth creation by the private sector for all Ghanaians. My administration thank you, will incentivize the private sector to complement government in the provision of many infrastructure and other services to reduce government expenditure and improve maintenance. The private sector will be encouraged to build roads, schools, hostels, and houses for government to rent or lease to hold. The demand for roads construction is massive, and this has historically placed a huge burden on the budget. I believe that the private sector should finance the construction and maintenance of roads through PPP concession arrangements. Also, the government will move towards leasing rather than purchasing vehicles, printing equipment, and so on. The private sector will have the responsibility for maintaining the vehicles and the equipment. With this approach, government can save very significant outright cash out expenditure annually from various items across different ministries, departments, and agencies. This policy will energize the private sector and create many jobs. Enhancing the role of the private sector, along with fiscal and administrative decentralization, improving our systems and the way our institutions function will lead to greater efficiency, cutting waste and ensuring value for money in procurement. The move towards private sector provision of many public services would create the fiscal space of at least 3% of GDP annually. This represents a major paradigm shift. Additionally, an efficient system of government will require even fewer ministers. I would have, therefore, no more than 50 ministers and deputy ministers. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about our tax system. To increase government tax revenue, we have to reform and refocus the Ghana Revenue Authority towards broadening the tax base. Unfortunately, the pressure that is placed on GRA staff to collect revenues makes them focus on existing taxpayers. Sometimes they even have to go and sit in people's shops to monitor sales, a process known as invigilation. In fact, many businesses feel harassed by this process and the constant audits of their operations. So this has to stop. We must strike the right balance between collecting revenue and allowing businesses to thrive. Our job is to protect the productive forces. The World Bank has estimated that revenues amounting to 13% of GDP, that is $24 billion in 2023, are not collected because people are outside the tax net. Even collecting half or a quarter of this annually will be a game changer for our public's finances. To do this, we need to inculcate and enforce a culture of people filing their tax returns. Incentives must be provided to encourage people to file their tax returns even if they will pay zero taxes. We need a fresh start. The current tax regime has been with us since independence, and it has failed us. Many people do not pay taxes, including property taxes. Too much discretion results in corruption. We want a tax regime that is easy to understand, easy to comply with, and easy to enforce, and that is not subject to so much discretion. Many individuals and businesses find our tax system cumbersome and confusing. My administration will introduce a very simple, citizen and business-friendly flat tax regime. A flat tax of a percentage of income for individuals and SMEs, which constitute 98% of all businesses in Ghana, with appropriate exemption threshold to protect the poor. With a new flat tax regime, a tax return should be able to be completed in just a few minutes. We will also simplify our complicated corporate tax system and VAT regime. To start the new tax system on a clean slate, my government will provide a tax amnesty, that is a complete exemption from payment of taxes for a specified period and waiving the interest and penalties up to a certain year to individuals and businesses for failures to file taxes in previous years, so that everybody will start afresh. Tax digitalization will be implemented across all aspects of tax administration. Everyone will be required to file a very simple tax return electronically through their mobile phone or computer. There will be no manual or paper filing of taxes under my administration. Assessments by GRA will also be faceless. Faceless assessments will provide transparency and accountability. There will be no need to send GRA officers to go and sit in shops. E-invoicing as being implemented by the GRA will be extended to all companies. Estonia, India, and Mexico provide very useful models for Ghana in the area of tax digitalization. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition, any audits by GRA will also be done electronically and facelessly. Furthermore, no entity will be audited more than once in 5 years unless anomalies are detected which the individual or company does not correct after being given the opportunity to do so. We will amend the law such that if there is a dispute about tax assessment, a binding arbitration will take place through a body constituted by institutions such as the Ghana Arbitration Center, Institute of Taxation, AGI, Institute of Chartered Accountants, Private Enterprise Foundation, Ghana Employers Association, and so on, with a mandate to resolve any appeal in a maximum of 3 months. This will not affect companies, however, who by their agreements have such arbitrations taking place in international jurisdictions. Ladies and gentlemen, with cuts in government expenditure, the private sector undertaking expenditure that would normally be done by government, and the new tax regime, the flat tax regime, that will enhance compliance, broaden the tax base, and increase tax revenue. With these policies, the situation we are going to face in 2025 is going to be very different from the situation we faced in 2020 and 2022. With the policy measures implemented so far, we have outperformed the IMF fiscal deficit target of 5% by attaining a fiscal deficit target of 4.2% in 2023. The new policies that I am proposing to implement in 2025 will give us the fiscal space to eliminate some taxes, such as the proposed VAT on electricity, if they are still on the books, the emissions tax, and the betting tax, without compromising our fiscal deficit. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to build a Ghana where we leverage technology, data, and systems for inclusive economic growth. I want us to apply digital technology, STEM, robotics, and artificial intelligence for the transformation of agriculture, healthcare, education, manufacturing, fintech, and public service delivery. As part of this process, it is my goal to eliminate the digital divide by achieving close to 100% internet penetration in Ghana. We have already made significant progress in this direction by increasing internet penetration from 34% in 2016 to 72% in 2023. So we've more than doubled internet penetration. The task in the next 4 years is to move from 72% to close to 100% internet penetration. It is possible. I want to see Ghana build the digital talent that we require for the fourth industrial revolution. This will mean providing digital and software skills to hundreds of thousands of youth. This, along with other policies, will create jobs for the youth, including school dropouts. In collaboration with the private sector, we will train at least 1 million youth in IT skills, including software developers, to provide job opportunities worldwide. Generally, there will be an enhanced focus on TVET education. My government will also support the establishment of a national open university, Ghana, in collaboration with the private sector, with a focus on technical and vocational skills and ICT. Ladies and gentlemen, to help our youth get jobs, I believe it is time to rethink the concept of the current national service scheme. My government will propose that those who, after completion of their education, can secure jobs will be exempted from national service. National service will no longer be mandatory, and students will have the option to decide whether to do national service or not. This will also encourage companies to go to the campuses to recruit annually. This time they don't go because of national service. Ladies and gentlemen, to prepare our children for the fourth industrial revolution workplace, I will enhance the repositioning of the education system towards STEM, robotics, artificial intelligence, and vocational skills to cope with the demands of the fourth industrial revolution and job creation. My government will make coding and robotics standard in senior high school. The foundation for this is being laid with the provision of laptops to senior high school students very soon. Teachers have already been given the requisite training. Following the senior high school, we will also implement a one student, one laptops policy for tertiary students through the provision of a zero interest loan with a 70% discount on the cost of the laptop payable over 4 years for tertiary students who need laptops. Furthermore, to become a digital hub in Africa, Ghana's telecom industry needs more investment. The cost of data for the ordinary Ghanaian has become too expensive. It goes against the very ethos of our digitalization journey. The industry cannot continue to operate at the efficiency and pricing levels of the least efficient operators. The focus has to be on the best efficiency and pricing for the consumer. I commit to working with the industry players in setting clear policy guidelines that will remove any investor uncertainty and difficulties in business planning, including the expeditious allocation of spectrum, driven more by the goal of enhancing digital inclusion and less by revenue consideration. Another area I want to tackle is reducing the cost of living. Ladies and gentlemen, a major priority of my government will be to reduce the cost of living. The cost of living in the world has increased massively following the COVID pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. Global inflation has increased from 1.55% in 2016 to 8.7% at the end of 2022. That is average. This is a five-fold increase. In particular, the increase in the cost of living has been driven by increases in food prices, energy prices, housing rents, and transport prices. Therefore, any attempt to reduce the cost of living on a sustainable basis must tackle agriculture, energy, housing, and transport prices. And that is exactly what I am going to do. I want a Ghana where we attain food security through the application of technology and irrigation to commercial large-scale farming. We will also promote the use of agricultural lime to reduce the acidity of our soils. We enhance soil fertility and get more yield from the application of fertilizer. Ghana has an abundance of limestone to do this. I will also prioritize the construction of the Pualugu Dam by using private sector financing to crowd in grant funds. My administration will also work to reduce the cost of public transport between 30 and 40% with the adoption of electric vehicles for public transportation. The pricing formula is dominated by two variables: the price of fuel and the price of spare parts. Electric vehicles do not use petrol or diesel, and the spare parts are minimal. That is what will bring down the fares for electric vehicles. More importantly, transport fares for electric vehicles will be stable, and the constant and large increases of fares that we have been witnesses will become a thing of the past. Under a housing for all policy, I will also have a major focus on the provision of public housing in the same manner that Singapore did. We will partner with the private sector to build large housing estates, as we have started doing, without the government having to borrow or spend. Also, the National Rental Assistance Scheme, which is working so well, will be enhanced to deal with the problem of for rent advance of 2 years and more. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of the effort to reduce the cost of living, my government will implement policies to have energy self-sufficiency at reduced cost through solar and other renewables with the application of market efficiency to the energy market. We will diversify the generation mix by introducing 2,000 megawatts of solar power and additional wind power through independent power producers to reduce our dependence on oil and gas by the end of my first term in office. Introducing solar power will significantly reduce the cost of electricity. The fact that the current residential, commercial, and industrial consumers' power is still neither reliable nor competitive is the testament that the regulatory and administrative measures so far implemented have not fully achieved the objectives we have set for ourselves in dealing with the legacy issues we inherit. Therefore, like the telecom market, we shall work to bring efficiency of markets and expand competition from the more private sector participation in generation and retail. With reliable and cost-competitive power, we will attract more manufacturing capacity into the country, create jobs, improve services, export more products, and support our AfCFTA strategy to improve the participation of Ghanaian industries in intra-African exports and trade. Ladies and gentlemen, to assist in the transition to green energy, my government will abolish import duty on solar panels so that we can bring in more. I now turn to our natural resources. Ladies and gentlemen, as president, I will usher into Ghana a golden age for the maximization of the benefits from our natural resources like gold, lithium, bauxite, and so on. The key to doing this is value addition and Ghanaian ownership. We need a new paradigm in natural resource contracts. Some of the key policies I will implement to maximize our benefits from our natural resources will include the formalization, regularization, and regulation of environmentally sustainable small-scale mining. About 1 million people are engaged in small-scale mining in Ghana. Our goal would be to help grow small-scale mining companies into large-scale companies with capacity building and assisting them to access finance for acquiring equipment. We intend to create many millionaires in the small-scale mining industries. My government will support the Minerals Commission and key stakeholders to formalize the artisanal and small-scale gold mining sector with the objective of ensuring that activities of the entire value chain are sustainably and responsibly done so that most of the gold produced by this sector can be sold to the Bank of Ghana and be eligible to be part of Ghana's gold reserves at the central bank. In line with this, we will license all miners doing responsible mining. District mining committees, including the chiefs, will provide initial temporary licenses to the miners. As long as miners mine within the limits of their licenses, that is, no mining in river bodies and so on, as long as they mine within the limits of their licenses, there will no longer be any seizure or burning of excavators. I will fully decentralize the Minerals Commission as well as the Environmental Protection Agency and ensure that they are all present in mining districts. Every Ghanaian small-scale mining operator will register under the Ghana Small-Scale Miners Association with their Ghana card. We will, in collaboration with the large mining companies, convert abandoned shafts into community mining schemes, and we will open more and new community mining schemes. District mining committees would be responsible for reclamation and replanting, and we will institute a pension scheme for small-scale miners like we have done for cocoa farmers. We will introduce vocational and skills training on sustainable mining for small-scale miners in the curriculum of TVET institutions and provide equipment to government authorities in the mining communities to undertake reclamation of land. Ladies and gentlemen, we will also set up a state-of-the-art common user gold processing units in mining districts in collaboration with the private sector. My government will also conduct an audit of all concessions with various licenses and new applications. This will allow government to know licenses that have expired and non-compliance with licensing conditions. To encourage exploration, I will abolish the VAT on exploration services, like I say, to encourage more exploration. We will establish, in collaboration with the private sector, a minerals development bank. Just as we have a Greek development bank for agriculture, we will have a minerals development bank for the miners. To support the industry, we will establish through the private sector the London Bullion Market Association certified gold refinery in Ghana within 4 years. And all responsibly mined small-scale gold produced will be sold to the central bank, the PMMC, or the Minerals and Income Investment Fund, MIF, and will be required. All the small-scale gold mined in Ghana, there will be a requirement that they are refined before they leave Ghana. We'll have to refine them before. Ladies and gentlemen, the increase in Ghana's gold reserves to support the city. Ladies and gentlemen, a major factor influencing macroeconomic stability is the consistent depreciation of the cedi against foreign currencies. This is usually caused by pressure on our foreign exchange reserves. Appreciably, increasing our reserves of gold at the central bank, combined with prudent fiscal policy, is therefore one of the surest ways to keep the exchange rate stable. Two policies that helped to rescue the economy from catastrophe in the recent crisis were the Bank of Ghana's Gold Purchase Program and the Gold for Oil Program. The Domestic Gold Purchase Program of the Bank of Ghana is a program where the central bank boosts its foreign exchange reserves by buying locally produced gold with cedis. Before this program, the total of Ghana's gold reserves since independence was 8.7 tons. That's the total we held since independence. This compares to 3,352 tons for Germany, 2,814 tons for the IMF, 2,451 tons for Italy, and 8,133 tons for the United States. It did not make sense to me that Ghana, the largest gold producer in Africa, will have some of the slowest holdings of gold reserves in the world. So I proposed to the Bank of Ghana to start a gold purchase program. The Gold for Oil program, on the other hand, allows the payment for oil imports with gold. So importers provide cedis which the Bank of Ghana uses to buy gold and pays the suppliers of the oil. This reduces the pressure on Ghana's foreign exchange reserves and stabilizes the rate. Ladies and gentlemen, it will interest you to know that since this program started, the Bank of Ghana has purchased 26 tons of gold at $1.73 billion. The government of Ghana's Gold for Oil program, which also started in late December 2022, has purchased 16 tons of gold at $1.06 billion that has been available for the import of petroleum products. Together, the Gold for Reserves and the Gold for Oil programs have unlocked $2.79 billion to meet external payments of the country in just over a year. These two policies have allowed us to build foreign exchange reserves and pay for critical imports like fuel, stabilize the exchange rate. It is important to note that the $2.7 billion that we have unlocked is almost equivalent to the $3 billion loan that we have obtained from the IMF, which is going to be disbursed over 3 years. What is clear to me is that if we had started implementing these policies, say 20 years ago, Ghana would be in a very different situation today. But it is never too late, and we have started, and we will continue. Ladies and gentlemen, given the large amount of gold reserves Ghana has, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Ghana has 7 large gold belts stretching from Axin and Winneba to Nangodi and Laura. According to the Geological Survey Department, the belts cover an area of 43,000 square kilometers, with about 50%, that is 21,000 kilometers, not yet explored. The conservative estimate is that the potential quantum of gold in these unexplored belts is around 5 billion ounces. This has a market value today of $10